Good morning, good morning, good morning. How many of us are like looking in the mirror going, what do I do for a living?
Well,
days off. I'm like,
everybody in the gym this morning was like, back to reality, back to reality. And I was like, what do you mean back to reality? Like, this is life. You're going back to doing the thing that you're going to do. Like, let's go. I hate it. I really hate it. I hate that sentiment.
I worked out more in the holiday than I do on the crazy schedule of weeks, right? The week. So I don't know. I think it's the opposite.
It was for me, just an absolute wonderful couple of days. Got to spend some time with Kai, which, Mark, I must tell you, you guys are doing an amazing job raising just an amazing human being. He's so much fun. We had a great time. We were out on the water and took advantage of this wonderful place that we live in. Thank you, Kim Sweers and the Boat Boss. For those of you who do not get to take advantage of the water here, please do yourself a favor because it is amazing. Had lunch at Southport, which was the famous Raw Bar. Just an amazing time. So what a way to kick off the weekend. I know you guys had a great time as well.
Yeah, it was awesome. We got to, obviously having Kai around for the whole week was great, but mom hosted everybody for the meal on Thursday, which was awesome. And then we got to spend Friday having the family come over, went over to Funky Buddha and watched some of the soccer game there, got to kick Kai's ass in cornhole and, absolutely show him no mercy. But it was awesome. I mean, it was a weekend full of babies. And when I was at the airport taking Kai back, when he was getting ready to get on his plane back to Tallahassee, I ran into the picture of the bottom corner is Joe Danos. Joe Danos was a strength coach with me at Florida State. He went around, he worked at the Giants for a while in New York, was working at Inter Miami, and him and I reconnected. Now he's on the staff at UF. So he flew back home because his family lives down here after the game. And I see him in the walking in the hallway. I'm like, Joe, he's like, Noodle. And so it was cool to catch up. But it was a great weekend. Family, friends. Going to the game yesterday was awesome. So great stuff.
Awesome. Lori, I know you took off and went to the West Coast.
Home away from home.
Look at that.
That's what I call my home away from home. So that one on the left is me in the hot tub, which I did a lot of this weekend because I was working out more this weekend. But it's just so peaceful. It's downtime. It's time to think, time to just listen to, YouTube videos. And I know I should be reading a fiction book, which I did too. But it's like, how much mushy beach girly stuff can you read? I mean, seriously, they all end the same way. It's like Hallmark movies. So, but it just really relaxed, and having Mike's girls there was really nice. So it was just a relaxing weekend.
So everybody had food, which was great. They had family. Couldn't do Thanksgiving weekend without football. And man, did we get a dose of football. The NFL on Thanksgiving Day gave us some great games, and 138 million people actually watched it. They broke every kind of record for every game. It wasn't only one of the games. It was like 40 million people each time. That's insane.
Well, the access too. I think it speaks to the access of the how you can watch. You can watch on your phone. You can watch on your iPad. You don't have to be sitting in front of the TV anymore. So like you may have been outside smoking a cigar with everybody. You're still watching the game. Or you may have been in the kitchen getting everything ready. You're still watching the game. Like it doesn't really matter where you are anymore. It's not just sitting in the living room around the TV.
Yeah. So Giants-Cowboys game averaged a whopping 41% share nationally, which means 41% of all the homes with televisions were tuned into that game.
Right.
It's so next year we get the privilege of getting a Friday game, but there was a Friday football game. Let's go there.
Oh, yes, there was. Oh, yes, there was.
Oh, yes.
So whoa. Okay. So there are always ups and downs in football. Your program goes through lots of, you're either really, really good, you're not so good. Somebody said you lose by a lot, then you lose by a little, then you win by a little, then you win by a lot.
The old Bobby Bowden.
That was a good indication of those are two good football teams playing each other. I thought it was fun. It was a great game. I didn't expect to win. It was not our year, but man, it went right down to it. And your quarterback can play some ball, man.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I related this to the 2010 season where we won the state championship. We beat Miami. We beat Florida. We went to the Peach Bowl and we ended up playing South Carolina. And that was a big game at the end of the year. We beat an SEC team. We ended up winning 10 games. And that you spoke about it yesterday, I think, in your post about momentum. That built the momentum for the next 3 years. That set the momentum in motion for great recruiting, for competitive teams. It sent the seniors out the right way and all of a sudden started to create this belief inside the program. So it'll be interesting to see how Norvell continues to take the team forward. But it was great to see a Florida State game be that exciting again.
And finally, we'll do the last piece of sports, which we have to do. And Lori, I don't know what your feeling is on soccer, but I actually was in the city. We stopped to watch that soccer game, watch the whole soccer game, or football, if you will. And I just don't get it, man. I watched the whole thing to see it be 0-0. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I don't know. Like people, it's the same thing in hockey, right? Like you watch a 0-0 hockey game, you either enjoy the sport or you don't. I enjoyed that game. I thought it was a very skilled football game. But now so for those of you that aren't paying attention, United States is in a must-win situation. They have to win in order to advance.
So lots of good stuff. We are back, but you alluded to my video yesterday. For me, it's all about momentum now. What you got to do is build and maintain those habits so that you fly into January. We'll be talking about a lot of that stuff over the next couple of weeks. But we got to wake up and then get to our show. Let's get back to it. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. We got, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then now listen what you have to say. All right. So I want to give some shout outs today, some really great posts, some really great things. Maria P., who is a huddler, writes me, thank you for continuing to pour into me and all of the huddlers daily. This community is a gift. Lots of love and gratitude, Maria. Coffee on me.
That's awesome.
So we do have a great community, and so shout out back at you. Thank you very much. No event would be real unless I got a handwritten note from Randy Ostrow.
Randy Ostrow, amen to that one.
A handwritten doozy, just telling again, reiterating all of the nuggets that are coming out. I did shout out Kim already, but I mean this very seriously. She made it great for us to get out on the boat. We went out on like a 40-foot Intrepid with the captain. It was so enjoyable, got out on the ocean. It's so easy to do. If you live here and you don't take advantage of the water, what a shame. So please make sure to do that. But the post of the weekend for me, as great as our friend Corey Disson.
Corey Disson
says, I have no special deals for Black Friday. I have no deep discounts. I've got all of this stuff. He goes, tire kickers and feet draggers need not apply. And he matches it with this video.
My offer is this. Nothing.
That was great.
All of this sea of deals that people are throwing out there, giving away stuff, stuff that people don't want. I thought I thought he really cracked a home run with that.
It was a refreshing post inside of the, hey, it's black. I mean, my inbox, my email was absurd.
Oh.
Like, if you shop online, forget it. Everybody that you've ever even thought about buying from online was sending you a discount code for Black Friday. And then on Saturday, it was, oh, Black Friday is continuing. And on Sunday, it was, oh, it's continuing. And oh, by the way, we're going to do another sale for Monday. And it's Cyber Monday now. So it's like 75 emails from like Lululemon and every other store that I've ever purchased from.
And by the way, when all of those are done, tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. So you're going to get hit with all the nonprofit organizations wanting you to donate on Giving Tuesday, which is a good thing.
I'm glad you went there, Miss Laurie. Could you do us a favor and educate us on what Giving Tuesday is?
Yeah, so Giving Tuesday here in Broward is tomorrow, November 29th. It is a day of giving, basically. And so nonprofits will send out emails with links to donate, tell their story, and hoping that people will support. I forget how many millions of dollars are raised here just in Broward. But, you know, so it's spread, but there are hundreds of nonprofits that participate. So JA, of course, actually, we're going to use it this year to kick off our year-end campaign. So it'll run from November 29th. It'll be a full-blown annual year-end giving campaign with digital marketing, direct mail, everything through December 31st.
I mean, there are people who wait till the end of the year to do it. There's tax benefits over and above the human benefits. So if you have not given at all this year, please do. And then I'll close our shout outs to Bob Goldfarb, because Bob Goldfarb put this out there. Happy Thanksgiving to all my LinkedIn family. So this is a stuffing that you make.
Delicious Thanksgiving from White Castle. It's unbelievable.
That you make with 10 White Castle hamburgers. So
I'm into it. I would definitely try it. 1,000%.
I'm telling you,
I would give that a try.
I am, for next year, I am making sure at some point I have White Castle stuffing, because it sounds.
You went to New York and you didn't have White Castle?
Not have White Castle. We ate good, whatever. We did not get to a White Castle. It is kind of funky walking around the city and seeing Chick-fil-A's there now. So it's like, right. I thought Chick-fil-A was a Southern thing. But here's what we got. We got a great conversation coming up. It's the 10 sales skills companies want. We'll show you a graph of what was 10 years ago and what is now. Lori, this is a bullseye for you. We saved it from last Monday. But what better music to get us started on this journey back to the end of the year? We're back. Take us away, Beatles.
Great video.
Oh, that was the Beatles' last final live appearance together.
That was a great video.
The rooftop of a place in London where they impromptu did their thing. So get back. It's time to get back to basics. So 2015, there was a list of the top 10 things that companies wanted. And now today, those things have radically changed. So I want to give you guys a minute. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but some have changed, some have been deleted, but it sort of feels like it's a different world. We're saying right now, sales management is top of the list. Customer service, which I think has a different connotation. And look at how high business dev is. account management, direct sales, sales process.
I like looking at the new ones, to me, like the sales process, communication, problem solving, and customer experience. Like, what's the difference between customer service and customer experience? I think is a good conversation, because customer experience takes you way outside of just ensuring that you deliver product, price, service at the right time. Customer experience is the way that people go about that buying journey with you, the way people go about the relationship development process, the way people go about, extending that experience beyond just what the product is. So I love the fact that they included customer experience.
Lori, I know that you had a full week to load up this conversation. So what's on your mind?
I would say I would put them in a different order. Definitely. Business development to me would be number one. It's all about building. It's all about building relationships, right? And cultivating those relationships. And I think, they talk about sales process. So I don't know if you can talk about biz dev without the process piece with it. So I have to put that up in the top 3, I think. And then the third one is, I would agree, customer experience, right? It's not about a survey. Did you get the right service? It is all about the experience in everything today, right? When we look at auctions, even in the nonprofit world, nobody wants to buy stuff anymore. It's about the experience. It's the buying experience. When you go to buy a dress, whatever, a gown, right? And they bring you out champagne and caviar and, if you're in an expensive store, of course, but it's about that experience. It's not about buying the dress. So for me, the other stuff, yes, of course, it takes communication to build relationships, problem solving. The other stuff is just kind of.
So I agree with you. Like, to me, I would build this into more of a hierarchy and say, like, what are the 3 things you absolutely have to be successful in this sales environment? One would be business development skills, right? The next one would, I would say, be a sales process. Like, you got to have those 3 things. And then the last piece being understanding what customer experience is, what it looks like, and how to deliver it. So then where you would say, okay, well, how do we break up business development into what are the categories? The number one, I think, is digital networking, right? Everybody who's still relying on in-person networking as the primary relationship development is outmatched by their competition, who's using the digital atmosphere, whether it be social media, whether it be Slack channels, other communities. There's so many different ways to connect with people digitally that if you don't have your own strategy and plan just for that, you're missing out.
So here's what's very interesting for the whole conversation. First of all, I agree with you, Mark. Dead on. Love it. Lori, you're exactly right. You put biz dev, because if you're not developing the business, it's a hobby. So I totally agree. The one word that's missing in the whole thing is relationships. Being good at developing relationships works internally and it works externally. Listen, in sales, and so we just showed this Simon Sinek video to somebody else about developing trust and something like that. If you don't have trust inside the organization or trust outside the organization, that's a fault of relationship building. They don't talk about it anywhere. Nobody says, I'm going to a relationship management course. Nobody says, I'm going to learn how to create, manage, and maintain relationships at scale. Where is all that?
So, but if you read the article that you sent, it does include building relationships, networking, building your brand is all what they call business development. So it is mentioned if you read the description of it. But I think the other point is
no. So wait a minute. I'll go there. So the word relationships is not mentioned anywhere in the article. Not one time.
Networking is right, not relationship.
Oh, talking about forming strategic partnerships. So
not a relationship.
Miss Lori, I know you.
I know you're right. Wait a minute. I read relationships in this article somewhere. Okay.
No, you inferred relationship. You heard, you read, and said, okay.
What the hell's going on out here?
I have a bet with you, Miss Lori, that the word relationships does not show up anywhere in that article.
I'm going to find it because I know I saw it.
But so, like, if you were to break down the business development process.
Oh, wait, I see it. It says successful communication with customers requires a far different relationship than the traditional buyer-seller dynamic. So,
really?
I mean, listen, they use different terms, but what I think I was trying to say is that under biz dev, right, is that whole concept of building relationships, right? Whether they call it partnerships. That's how I took biz dev.
You used the word cultivating, which I thought was really interesting because to me, as I've done it more and more and more, relationship development has always been a very easy skill for me. Like I'm a connector. I know how to have a conversation with somebody and be actively engaged in who they are and be interested in them and build that connection early. I think the cultivation or the conversion of that relationship to be able to identify a problem that you can solve with them is another skill set that has to be taught in biz dev, because if I'm going to get into the conversation with you and I'm going to build the rapport and the trust that you can like me and we have some kind of relationship, I still have to be skilled at converting that friendship into a business opportunity, assuming that there is one there. That does not look like saying, okay, hey, we became friends. Now I'd like to pitch you my business so that you can buy it from me. It's being skilled and being able to ask questions and understand people's journeys in order to say, oh, hey, I see a problem or I hear a problem and I might be able to help you with that.
So forget this list for a second. Forget the list. You are both tasked with putting people on your team to grow the business.
Yeah.
Call them whatever you want, business developers, salespeople, whatever. Someone sits across from you, right, either digitally or in person, and can't develop a conversation with you. You hire them or you don't.
Out.
No.
Not for sales. Right.
So the number one skill is
maybe for computer input, data input.
Correct. Being able to have a conversation, 1,000%.
And that's why I think communication goes under biz dev. If you can't communicate, you can't build relationships.
I agree. I would put communication top of the whole thing. If you learn how to communicate, you will also understand how to convert conversations to business opportunities.
Correct.
No, but I think there's more to converting.
Oh, there's joy. Joy is a beauty. It is a beauty.
So I think there's more to converting than communication. Okay, but so cultivate has been a word in the nonprofit world for a very long time. When you are cultivating donors, it is about making, first of all, it's that building that relationship, but it's ongoing, right? It's sending them notes. It's sending them a picture of the kids. It's getting them out for a tour. It's taking them to lunch. It's learning about them. That's what we call cultivation, right? So there's the prospecting piece, which is just the research, right? The research piece. Then there's that cultivation. That's the part where then you get to convert them. Communication is such a part of that. I can communicate without the purpose of cultivating, right?
I think there's another.
I want to make sure you get the point that at every step in what you just talked about, you are communicating. If you do not have the ability to communicate, people aren't going to lunch with you. They're going to delete your messages. You cannot continue to develop or cultivate if you can't communicate. It all starts with that connection. We've connected and all kinds of good things can happen. I think people who could not connect in the real world are having a miserable time in digital because it is just the extension of what happened in person. So that's
I agree about communication. I was just including it as part of the biz dev category. But I think the other interesting thing in this article was not so much the order of things, because I think we all agree on that. But I thought the other interesting thing was, there was a day when you just went out and prospected and cultivated. You didn't steward the client. You didn't worry about the customer experience. You didn't worry about the thank you afterwards. You just went out, closed the deal, and you were done. That is no longer the way it is, at least not in nonprofit. You are prospecting and researching and identifying who those people are. You're making that connection. You're building that relationship. You're cultivating the relationship. And then guess what? It's your job to steward, what we call in nonprofit, steward that relationship. Keep it going. Keep them interested in you. Keep them connected so that they get.
That word to me is follow up. That is a necessary skill of understanding how to follow up, when to follow up, what to follow up with, and constantly following up, because that to me is the biggest differentiator between people who have great customer experience, people who have great, customer satisfaction throughout their journey, is that the person that they do business with follows up with them all the time. That's it. And not following up to sell, not following up to convert, but following up to let them know, hey, here's information. It's educational, it's entertaining, it's informative, it's relationship building, it's valuable. Constantly following up with that is the difference in creating the digital customer experience.
If people think that you are only following up to sell them again,
they're out.
That's not stewardship.
Right.
It's those touch points in between where I had a donor say to me one time, you want to get together you want another gift? And I said, no, I just wanted to get together. Right. I don't just want to get together when I'm asking you for a gift.
Right.
We have a relationship. So I want to keep you up to date. I want to hear what's going on in your world. Right. It's about a long-term relationship, wishing them happy Thanksgiving or happy holidays. And you don't want anything.
Sure.
So I'll close with this, and it's really interesting, Lori, because you keep referring to it in the world of nonprofit. I still think there's no difference between nonprofit and profit. There's no difference. You maintain and build great relationships. Good things happen. So your widget is raising dollars. Some need to sell their inventory, whatever, but it's the same principle. And you, more than anybody I know in the space, there's a few others, but have converted your mindset to say, we are running a business, not a.
But I come from business, right? Remember, I come from the corporate world, but I will say that the corporate world has taken longer to get to this cultivation stewardship, right? But you in sales, it was not like that. This has always been the case, pretty much, at least as far as I know, in nonprofit work. So we're all businesses. At the end of the day, it's about selling the widget or getting the gift, right? But it's just our process had to be different. Guess why? Because they don't need what we're selling.
Right.
It makes them feel good. So our product has always been about feeling good, and that's about cultivation, stewardship, building relationships.
I'm going to close the show with, when people buy, they buy emotionally, not logically. So no matter what it is, it makes them feel good. Whether it's a new system, whether it's training to get them 1% better, it doesn't matter, because buying is done emotionally, not logically. There you go. What a way to get back into it.
We're
back. So get back into it. Get your shit together. Get on the ball. Let's go.
Get out of business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to